Alright guys, so there are a bunch of new Yu-Gi-Oh cards coming out. One of them, everyone is calling the new Broken, the new Sixth Sense, the new card that is going to go straight to the ban list. But there's a bunch of new cards we're going to be taking a look at. Also, there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh game coming out on the 3DS. But first off, let's go ahead and jump right into the cards I think everyone is going to be talking about for the next couple days. It's already blowing up on literally like every Yu-Gi-Oh page. It's called the Seto Kaiba's card, the Lullaby of Obedience. Like everyone, if you click on any page, everyone's talking about this card. And I gotta say, it has got a crazy effect. Everyone's like directed straight to the ban list. Anyways, I want to cover this card first because I feel like we could almost make a video just talking about this one card. So anyways, Lullaby of Obedience, normal spell card. Pay 2,000 life points, then declare one monster name. Your opponent looks through their deck, and if the declared monster is in there, they must reveal one of them and choose one of the effects. So it says you, the opponent of this card's activator, add that card to the opponent's hand. You, the opponent of this card's activator, special summon that monster to your opponent's field, ignoring its summoning conditions. So like, I could be like, oh dude, you know, I just take your BLS, I just take your tour guide if we're playing mirror match. I could take your Exodia part. Like, that just means that you instantly have a huge chance to completely shut down Exodia. Exodia is almost no longer viable. If you side deck this card, I think that, you know, in mirror matches you're going to have an advantage against certain decks that have like a one card that they really need. Like I said, Exodia, or if there's something that you know that certain decks play, like Dark Arm Dragon, you know, I can get that Dark Arm Dragon, or I can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, and if I have like 50, you know, Burning Abysses in the graveyard, I can get 50, you know, Destructions. That is absolutely crazy if you get this card's effect. But, I don't know, how do you guys feel about this? I feel like this card is insane. The downside is, pay 2,000. There's no, you can't enter battle phase. There's no, your opponent can't take any damage. There's no only activate one of them. I could activate 3 of these, alright? And let's say, like, I'm just going to use, for example, like, Agents, because they're a deck that I think a lot of you players are familiar with. They have 3 boss monsters. They have Hyperion. I just go Hyperion, Hyperion, Hyperion. That means I get all of your boss monsters. And again, you can activate as many as you want. There's no downsides other than, of course, paying the life points. But I don't know, I think this card is absolutely crazy. I'll let you guys go crazy in the comment section below. But we're here to check out more than just this card. But I wanted to just kind of talk about this card first because I feel like this card, it does have some potential to get hit or errata or something. Because like the fact that it has like no real downsides, it's crazy. But like I said, everyone's going crazy in every Yu-Gi-Oh forum and stuff talking about this card. I think it's pretty good. Is it broken? I think the part that makes it more broken, and just broken in general, is that there's really no downsides. The 2,000 is just not good enough for you to be like, you know, I'm just going to only run one. I think a lot of people are going to side deck multiple copies of this. Again, you steal that one specific card for a deck, you can win the game. But anyways, let's go and jump into some of the new magnet stuff. So I think a lot of people will be excited to see some support for that archetype. But anyways, we have A to Z Buster Dragon. So its materials are the ABC Dragon Buster plus XYZ Dragon Cannon. Must be special summoned by banishing the cards you control, whose original names are the above cards, and it can be special summoned by other ways, but you don't need poly. Its first effect is that when an opponent's monster effect or spell trap, so basically if anything is activated, you discard one card and negate the activation and destroy it. Then, during either player's turn, you can banish this card, then target one of your banished ABC Dragon Buster and one of your banished XYZ Dragon Cannons, and then special summon them. So like, basically, once it goes away, or if it does, you can banish the card, then bring back the other things, and then just rebuild the card up. That could be pretty annoying to deal with, but obviously this card is really good for some of the players that are interested in playing that deck. That's like their boss monster now. Then we also have some heavy mech support armor. So when this card is normal summon, you can target one union monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Then once per turn, you can activate one of these effects. So you get to target a machine type monster you control and equip this card to that target. If it was destroyed, it's like that union effect. The equipped monster cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect. So that's a pretty good effect. We have the one where it can't be targeted by spells, or it's unaffected by, I think, by spells, and there's one unaffected by monsters, and there's one unaffected by traps. But this one makes it so it can't be targeted, period. So maybe that one outclasses them all. You guys let me know in the comment section. And then we have the Union Harrier, or Hanger. It's a field spell, and it says you can only activate one per turn. So as soon as it's activated, you can add one light machine type monster from your deck to your hand. Again, Shadow's still banned though. When this card is activated, you can add one, and then once per turn, if a light machine monster is normal or special, you can target one of those monsters, equip from your deck one light machine unit monster with a different name from it that you can equip to it. The equipped monster special summon cannot be special summoned this turn. So there's a downside to it, but it's mediocre. As soon as you activate it, you already get its values already like recovered, and then on top of that, you get to add another one. So you can get a lot of equips relatively fast now. The XYZ Dragon support stuff is looking pretty dang good, or the ABC, whatever you guys want to call it. Next up, we got Scrambling Units. So you can only activate one per turn. So you get to target up to 2 of your banished light machines that are normal or unions, and you just special summon them. During either player's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you banish it, and then you can target one of your banished light machine, normal, or union monsters and add it to your hand. So it's a double utility. Next up, we have the Super Conduction Machine Imperium Magnum. So it requires Valkyrion the Magnum Warrior and Basarion the Magnum Warrior, and it must be fusion summoned, can't be special summoned by other ways. Then once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster, effect, or spell and trap card, you get to negate that activation, and if you do, destroy it. That's a pretty good effect, right? And then if this card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you just special summon the Valkyrion and the Basarion Magnum Warrior from your hand or deck. That's why, like, oh my, oof, that's really good from the deck, again, ignoring so many conditions. Then we have the Magnet Field. That's the field spell card for the deck, and you can only use the first of effect of it once per turn. So if you control a 4 lower Earth Rock type monster, you target one level 4. It says question mark or lower Magnet Warrior monster in your graveyard, and special summon it. So that's pretty decent. I'm not sure if this means that they don't know the level or if it's like I really have no idea. I'm guessing they don't know like the exact number because like it might be like too hard to see from the picture that they were given. But anyways, the other effect is that once per turn at the end of a damage step, when a Earth Rock type monster you control did not destroy an opponent's monster with battle, you can return that opponent's monster to the hand. So okay little effect. I don't really feel like too many people will use that, but this is not bad. I mean, if you control 4, just special summon it. But you can only use that effect once per turn. But it already gets value out of it. A lot of these cards are just so freaking good now. And then we have the Magnet Conversion. So it's a normal trap card. You can target up to 3 level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior monsters from your graveyard. Add them to your hand. During either player's turn except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, banish it, and then you can target one of your banished level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior monsters and then special them. So it's a decent little card. And then this is new reprints, I guess. They're just announcing Poly, and then I think it's a starter deck or structure deck, whatever it is. But anyways, there's another support card for the Dark Magicians. So it is a quick play. You can only activate one Dark Magic Succession once per turn. So its first effect is you banish 2 spell cards from your graveyard, add 1 spell or trap card from your deck that is list the name Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl to your hand, except for Dark Magician Succession. So I think that's a decent little card because if you go through your cards relatively fast, you get to add anything from your deck. That's a pretty good effect, especially when you have cards like Upstart, but here in the TCG we had that hit. So next up, there are a lot more other cards to check out, so let's go ahead and jump right into it because there's new plants and there's new other stuff. So let's go ahead and check it out, the nice little big artwork over here. If you guys want to read everything, I'll post it down below in the description box, the full list, but there's Predator plants, there's new cards. We gotta go check them all out though. But anyways, we have Star Venom Fusion Dragon. A lot of people are saying this card is broken, but I feel like no, that other card where you get to like call a monster is, in my opinion, is more busted. But anyways, 2 non-token dark monsters on the field. So anyways, if this card is fusion summoned, you can have this card gain attack equal to the current attack of 1 special summon monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Once per turn, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. This card name becomes that monster and gets that effect. And then if the fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. That's a pretty decent little effect, but I feel like most people will absorb it and they're just not going to destroy it. I don't understand why people think it's so broken. I think it's got a decent effect where you get to basically run over one of their things, and then you can target 1 level 5 or higher, and then you gain their effects, and it becomes the monster's name. I don't know, what deck is going to make good use of it, because it's just 2 non-token dark monsters. So, what deck would make good use of this? You guys let me know. I mean, heck, dude, you could just Battle Fatal. That's a dark already. Pretty decent little card. I just don't see why it's so broken. But anyways, we have the Predator Plants. I'm thinking maybe that this is like going to go in some type of Venom deck at first. I was like, Venom getting support? That's a pretty old deck. But anyways, we have the Predator Plant Skid Drosera. So level 2. And it's got trash attack and defense. But anyways, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. Target one face-up monster you control. During this turn, it can attack each monster your opponent controls with Predator counter. So that's very similar to Venom if you guys have ever played Venoms. They're not very good, especially this day and age. But the second effect is if this face-up card leaves the field, place one Predator counter on each special summon monster your opponent controls. A level 2 or higher monster with Predator counters becomes level 1. And then we have the Predator Plant Murray Nempathes, and it's got 1600 attack, and this card gains 200 attack for each Predator counter on the field. When the card destroys a monster by battle, you can equip that destroyed monster to this card. Once per turn, you can target one monster equipped to this card by this card's effect, destroy it, and if you do, gain life point equal to its original attack. That's a decent little effect, but again, it's healing. Healing isn't really necessarily like a win condition, so to speak, in the game. It is definitely better than nothing, but it's still mediocre. If it was you could, maybe special summon it, that'd be much, much better. Next up, we have Predator Plant Fly Hell. So it's only got 400 attack, so pretty much irrelevant. Once per turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Place one Predator counter on it. Level 2 or higher monsters with Predator counters become level 1. At the start of damage step, this card battles a monster that is with a level that is lower than or equal to this card's level, which is level 2. You can destroy that monster, then increase this card's level by the level of the destroyed monster. So I feel like with all these counters, it's just a little bit too slow. That's just kind of the way I see it. But anyways, let's go check out some of the other cards. Dark Requiem Exceed Dragon. So rank 5 Dark Dragon. With 3000 attack, it requires 3 level 5 monsters. If it has Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon as material, it gains the following effects. Once per turn, you can attach material from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes 0, and if it does, this card gains attack equal to that monster's original attack. During either player's turn, when an opponent's monster effect activates, you can detach one material from this card, negate the activation if you destroy it, then you expose some one XYZ monster from your graveyard. That's a really good effect, but I don't really know if we're going to get maybe new artifacts. So that was a good rank 5 deck. There's not too many decks that I think can throw out rank 5s off the top of my head, but again, this could be, a hint that we're getting more, perhaps support for level 5 monsters. I know that you can Dino Mists, but at that point, you're probably more than likely just going to go ahead and go for that Infinity. But you guys can let me know. I feel like this card is just outclassed by other cards. And it is 3 level 5s, and you have to have that specific one as material to gain the effect. So I don't know how I feel about that card. Next up, we have the rank up the Phantom Knights of Launch. So more Phantom Knights PK support. So quick play. During the player's main phase, you can target one Dark XYZ monster that has no materials that you control. Special summon one Dark XYZ monster from your extra deck that is one rank higher than the targeted monster by using the targeted monster as material. The special summon tree does exceed summon. If you do, attach this card to it as material. Oh, bam! There we go. Pretty good stuff indeed. And then during your main phase, you can banish the card from your graveyard, then target one Dark XYZ monster you control. Attach the Phantom Knights monster from your hand to that monster's material. I think it's a decent effect. The first effect is obviously much better, but it's definitely not a bad second effect. Next up, we have the Cypher Mirror Knight. So level 4, 0/0 Light Warrior. You can only use the second effect of it once per turn. The first effect is when a Cypher monster or kinetic soldier you control is destroyed by battle into the graveyard, you can discard this card, send one card you control or have in your hand to the graveyard. If you do, special summon that destroyed monster. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you get to add one Cypher or kinetic soldier from your deck to your hand. Kinetic Soldier, surprisingly, guys, it's really good against heroes. Heroes aren't relevant in the TCG, so unless we get Stratos, but even then, I feel like heroes are they're more popular than the OCG. And next up, we got the Cypher Twin Raptor. So you can only use the second effect of it once per turn. The first effect of it is that if your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extract while you control the monster, you can special summon it from your hand. You can discard one card to special summon one Cypher or Kinetic Soldier from your hand or deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Cypher monsters or Kinetic Soldier. I like how Kinetic Soldier is just you know how the cards are except for Jam, but this one's or you can just get a Kinetic Soldier, dude. Next up, we have Amazing Pendulum. It's a normal spell card. You can only activate one of them per turn. You control no cards in your Pendulum Zone. Add 2 face-up Magician Pendulum monsters with different names from your extra deck to your hand. I mean, I guess if your scale gets wrecked, it's okay. But if it was from your deck, then we're looking at a much better card. But next up we have the new Guardian. You guys know that archetype looking pretty good. If you guys haven't checked out the Guardians, I'll leave a link down below in the description box. Check them out, guys. They are pretty good. You know, they look really good, but we're getting more support for them, so obviously they're going to be much better. So it's got 2000 attack and 2000 defense, level 6 Dark Synchro. So its first effect is that if a Guardian monster you control attacks the defense position, you can do piercing. Second effect is once per turn you can banish one Guardian monster from your graveyard until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent can't activate cards or effects in the graveyard and cannot special summon from the graveyard. Very, very good effect against certain decks. Certain things like those zombie Omega decks, oh man, you just like wreck them completely with that. Planet Synchro, usually you can wreck them pretty well with that. I know that deck isn't really relevant right now in the game, but that's still really good that they can't activate card effects in the graveyard. Cosmos, bam, no effects in the graveyard. Great. Great effect indeed. Next up we have the Chu Koi Koi, or Chao Koi Koi. Anyways, it's a normal spell card. You get to excavate the top 3 cards of your deck and special summon as many Guardian monsters as possible, ignoring their summoning conditions, and then but their effects are negated and they become level 2. Banish the other cards face down, and any of them are banished, you lose 1000 life points for each. That's an insane effect already. Next up, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then tribute one monster to special summon one Guardian monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. Like, everything getting like double, triple effects now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Next up, we have the Hanazumi, the other spell card, which is the one on the right here, and it says you can only use the second effect of once per turn. The first effect of it is you can choose 3 Guardian monsters from your deck and place them on top of your deck in any order. And then the second effect is during your main phase 1, except for during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you banish this card from your graveyard and then target one Guardian monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Really, really good effects. Like I said, a lot of this stuff right now is like they get effects and then you banish from the graveyard, except for the turn it was used, and then you get an effect. So I feel like there's going to be like a lot more cards that you know, have that effect. So I'm thinking like D-Fisher and Macro are looking like even better right now in the game. I know at TCG they're 1-1. But anyways, next up we have No Cheaters Allowed. It's a continuous trap card. Once per turn, when your opponent special summons a monster or monsters from their hand, you can turn all monsters on the field that were special summoned from the hand to the hand. If there's not a face-up Guardian Synchro monster, send this card to the graveyard. Great card. It's like it's kind of a, I would say it's almost a floodgate because it's a continuous. Just bam, put him back. This is pretty good, pretty good. Next up we have Duelist Pack 17, so we got some other cards. Magnum Reverse, Quick Play, target one machine type, question mark, or rock type monster that you cannot normal summon or set in either graveyard or that you have banished and you can special summon. Okay. Magnet Force, during this turn, monsters on the field whose original type is either machine or rock are unaffected by monster effects except for their own. Decent little effect. Next up, we have this card, Lullaby. I've already talked about. That was the first card I talked about. The card is absolutely crazy. Next up, we have the Tribute Burial. So, normal spell card once per turn, or once for the rest of the turn. If you tribute summon or set a monster that requires 2 tributes, you can banish one monster from each graveyard to tribute summon that monster instead. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. So it looks like just like straight up like Monarch support, I want to say. Next up, we have some Silent Magician support. We have the Silent Magician. That's what it's called. So it's 1,000. It can't be normal summon or set. It's got to be special summoned from your hand by tributing one spellcaster type monster and cannot be special summoned by other ways. You use 500 attack for each card in your hand once per turn during either player's turn. When a spell is activated, you can negate the activation. It does not destroy, which is actually kind of relevant. But anyways, the third effect of this is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon one Silent Magician monster from your hand or deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. Oh my gosh, what is up with everything screwing the rules of the game? Because this is literally like breaking the rules of the game. It's like, hey, just ignore it, man. Don't worry about it. We gotta make more broken cards, man. But next up we have the Silent Burning. So it's a quick play. During the battle phase, if you control a Silent Magician monster and you have more cards in your hand than your opponent, both players draw cards until they have 6 cards in their hand. This card's activation and this card's effect cannot be negated. And then you can banish a card from your graveyard to add one Silent Magician monster from your deck to your hand. So that could be crazy, because like you can go to battle phase, and then like if you just have one card, and then your opponent has none, because remember you have to have more cards than your opponent. You could just draw 6, and maybe you can finish them off. I don't know. Drawing 6 seems pretty stupidly good to me. I know it's like during battle phase, but still 6 cards, 6. Oh my gosh. And anyways, you can banish card from your graveyard to add a Silent Magician monster. I think that's great. So anyways, there's 2 more new cards and there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh game. We'll get right into it because this video is like 500 hours long. So anyways, There is Blue Eyes White Dragon Slaves if any of you guys live in the OCG. Pretty cool. Next up we have some Perform Pal support. It's the Samurai Liger, so you can only use the first effect of it once per turn. And its first effect is that when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sent to the rearward, you can add a level 5 or higher pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. 1800 attack, so it's not anything that is like going to be like, so to speak, to get over like large things, but hey, you know what, that search card is pretty good effect, man. And then we have some Fluffle support for all you Fluffle players. Level 1, it's an Earth Fairy. 0/0, it's treated as a frightful monster on the field, and this card on the field can substitute one material that is written on a frightful fusion monster, but the other fusion monsters must be correct. That's a decent little card, for sure. Next up we have Card Battle 3DS, so it's a new game. It shows a few pictures of the game. They're really small resolutions, but it's because they were all taken off of one page, essentially, but apparently there is speed duels in it. I don't really know what the heck a speed duel is, so you guys can, I guess, tell me what the heck that is in the comment section. Is it good? Is it more broken? I don't know. We'll find out. I'll probably end up like getting this game, even though it's probably going to be awful. I swear, most of these like Yu-Gi-Oh games are like too complicated and they're way too hard. If any of you guys played the GameCube game, like it was a False Kingdom, that game was so hard. Like, oh my gosh. But anyways, there's also a new card. Includes cards from the latest starter deck, which is kind of cool, I guess, that it's really recent. Because sometimes the games come out and they're like, you know, a couple months old. And then there's also some mangas coming out, and they also announced a new card called Divine Serpent Ge is coming out, but it doesn't show its full effect. And then there's also a V-Jump promo called Silent Paladin. We don't know the effect of it, but we do know that it has 500 attack and 1500 defense. So that's pretty much irrelevant because we need to know what it does to be good because its stats are not that great. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of these cards that we talked about. Let me know what you're most excited about, because to me, I feel like Lullaby of Obedience has some potential to be like just like game breaking. You side deck this against your opponent and you just instantly go activate search. You play Exodia. Let me take your left leg. I win the game. I'll play. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh 2016, man. But I was like no downsides. But I want to know, guys, do you guys think it's broken? I feel like it's like right there from being broken. Like you have to know what your opponent has. But if they already have like all triple copies, then like you're good to go. But you could be like, oh, let me take that Vandy. Well, you can't take Vandy's Emptiness, unfortunately. It only does take a monster. But I don't know, Vandy's Fiend. You know, that's a pretty good card. Monarchs. Let me take your idea. Like, I don't know. That seems like an insane card effect, especially against the mirror match. I feel like it's broken in mirror match. Is it broken in the Ming deck? Just going in game one, probably still pretty good against meta. You can take some of their good cards. I think it's. I want to say it's like. I really feel like it's pretty broken because of the lifeline clause. All of you guys have been freaking out about it. I kind of agree with you guys. It's pretty broken. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to give that like button a titty slap. And it's been your boy Will Smith, signing out.